Hello and welcome back. Today we're taking a close look at a major player in financing India's growth engine, the Indian Railway Finance Corporation or IRFC.
That's right. IRFC is a Government of India enterprise, essentially the dedicated financing arm for the Indian Railways. Their main job is borrowing funds from various sources and using that money to acquire assets like locomotives, wagons and coaches, which are then leased out to the Indian Railways. It's a crucial role in supporting railway infrastructure development.
Absolutely. And they've just released their audited standalone financial results for the fourth quarter and the full financial year ended March 31st, 2025. The board approved these results on April 28, 2025. So no consolidated figures today, just the standalone performance?
Correct. The report explicitly mentions they don't have subsidiaries, associates or joint ventures as of March 31st, 2025, so we're focusing purely on the standalone numbers provided.
Got it. Let's dive straight into the key financials then. How did IRFC perform in terms of revenue from operations for the fourth quarter? Let's look at the year-over-year comparison first.
Okay. For the fourth quarter ended March 31st, 2025, IRFC reported revenue from operations of 6,722.83 crore rupees. Comparing that year-over-year to the fourth quarter of the previous financial year, 2024, where they reported 6,474.58 crore rupees, that's a modest increase of about 3.8%.
A modest increase year-over-year. Now how does that compare to the immediately preceding quarter, the third quarter of FY25? What's the quarter-over-quarter picture?
Sequentially, comparing Q4 FY25 to the unaudited figures of Q3 FY25, there's actually a slight dip. Revenue in Q3 was 6,763.69 crore rupees, so Q4 revenue decreased slightly by about 0.6% quarter-over-quarter.
Okay, so slight growth year-over-year, but a marginal dip quarter-over-quarter in revenue. What about the full financial year 2025 compared to 2024?
For the full financial year 2025, the total revenue from operations came in at 27,152.14 crore rupees. This is up slightly from the 26,648.63 crore rupees recorded in FY24, representing a year-over-year growth of about 1.9%. So steady, but not spectacular top-line growth for the year.
Right. Now, let's move down the income statement. The report doesn't explicitly list EBITDA. How does the profit before tax or PBT look as a proxy for operational performance? Let's start with the year-over-year for Q4.
For the fourth quarter of FY25, the profit before tax, which is also the profit after tax due to their tax status, which we'll discuss later, stood at 1,681.87 crore rupees. Comparing this year-over-year to Q4 FY24's PBT of 1,717.32 crore rupees, we actually see a decrease of about 2.1%.
Interesting. PBT is down slightly year-over-year for the quarter. What about the quarter-over-quarter trend from Q3 FY25?
Quarter-over-quarter, there's an improvement. PBT in Q4 FY25 was 1,681.87 crore rupees, up from 1,630.66 crore rupees in Q3 FY25. That's an increase of about 3.1% sequentially.
Okay, so PBT dipped year-over-year but improved quarter-over-quarter. How did PBT fare for the full financial year 25 versus 24?
For the full year, PBT in FY25 was 6,502 crore rupees. That's up by about 1.4% compared to the 6,412.11 crore rupees in FY24. So mirroring the revenue trend, modest profit growth for the full year.
And you mentioned profit after tax or PAT is the same as PBT? Why is that?
Yes, that's a key point from the notes. IRFC has opted for the tax regime under Section 115 BAA of the Income Tax Act. Under this regime, their taxable income effectively comes out to NIL for the period, meaning they haven't had to provision for current or deferred taxes in these results. So PBT equals PAT for these periods.
That makes sense. So PAT numbers and trends are exactly the same as PBT. Down 2.1% year-over-year for Q4, up 3.1% quarter-over-quarter for Q4, and up 1.4% year-over-year for the full financial year 25.
Precisely.
What about the earnings per share, the EPS? How does that look for Q4 and the full year?
The basic and diluted EPS for Q4 FY25 was 1.29 rupees. This is slightly lower than the 1.32 rupees reported in Q4 FY24, reflecting the dip in quarterly profit. However, quarter over quarter, it's up from 1.25 rupees in Q3 FY25. For the full financial year 25, the EPS was 4.98 rupees, showing a slight increase from the 4.91 rupees earned in FY24.
Got it. Did other income play any significant role in these results?
Other income was quite minimal compared to the operational revenue. For Q4 FY25, it was only 0.57 crore rupees, down both year-over-year and quarter-over-quarter. For the full year, it was 3.55 crore rupees, down from 6.51 crore rupees in FY24. So not a major driver of the results.
Okay. Moving on to profitability insights. With PAT being the same as PBT, what can we say about the net profit margins?
The net profit margin for Q4 FY25, calculated as PAT divided by revenue from operations, comes out to roughly 25.0%. For the full financial year 25, the margin is around 24.0%. These are very healthy margins, reflecting the nature of their financing business model, where their main cost is the interest paid on borrowings.
Were there any exceptional items reported during the quarter or year that might have affected these numbers?
No, the results statement doesn't show any exceptional items for the quarter or the full year ended March 31st, 2025. This suggests the profits we're seeing are from their regular business operations.
Let's briefly touch upon the balance sheet. What are the key highlights in terms of assets, liabilities, and debt?
As of March 31st, 2025, IRFC's total assets stood at a massive 4,88,834.68 crore rupees, slightly up from the previous year. Total liabilities were around 4,36,166.91 crore rupees. Their net worth or total equity increased to 52,667.77 crore rupees from 49,178.57 crore rupees the previous year.
And their debt position? That must be substantial given their business model.
Absolutely. Total debt, including debt securities and other borrowings, stood at 4,12,129.40 crore rupees as of March 31st, 2025. This is essentially flat compared to the previous year. However, the debt-equity ratio improved slightly, coming down to 7.83 times from 8.38 times at the end of FY24, mainly due to the increase in equity.
How about the cash flows for the year? Any significant movements there?
Looking at the standalone cash flow statement for FY25, cash flow from operating activities was positive at 8,229.57 crore rupees, slightly higher than the previous year. Cash flow used in investing activities was minimal at negative 0.10 crore rupees. Cash flow used in financing activities was negative 2,571.95 crore rupees. This outflow in financing mainly reflects the net movement in borrowings and also significant dividend payments.
Dividends? Did they mention dividend payments in the cash flow?
Yes, the cash flow statement shows substantial dividend payouts during FY25. It lists a final dividend paid of 914.80 crore rupees and an interim dividend paid of 2,090.96 crore rupees. That's a total outflow of over 3,000 crore rupees to shareholders during the year.
That's a significant payout. Now, segment performance. You mentioned they operate in a single segment?
Correct. Note 8 to the financials explicitly states that the company's main business is providing leasing and financing to the railway sector in India, and as such, there are no separate reportable business segments under the relevant accounting standards. So the entire performance we've discussed pertains to this single segment.
Okay, that simplifies things. So summarizing the performance analysis, we see modest top-line growth for the year, with profit growth slightly trailing due to factors likely influencing finance costs or spreads. Although quarterly profit showed sequential improvement in Q4, the profitability margins remain strong.
Exactly. The slight decrease in profit year-over-year in Q4, despite revenue growth, might indicate some pressure on their interest spreads or changes in borrowing costs during that specific quarter, but the full-year picture and the sequential improvement suggest overall stability.
Were there any other significant notes or events mentioned in the report besides the tax status?
Yes, a couple of major points. Firstly, the board approved a large market borrowing program for the financial year 25-26, aiming to raise resources up to 60,000 crore rupees through various instruments like bonds, loans, and ECBs. This signals their continued role in funding railway expansion. Secondly, the appointment of Shri Randhir Sahai as an additional director with the additional charge of Director Finance, effective from May 1, 2025, was also approved.
And importantly, what did the auditors OP Totla and Company say in their report? Any qualifications or concerns?
This is crucial. The auditors issued an unmodified opinion, which means they believe the financial statements give a true and fair view overall. However, they included an emphasis of matter.
An emphasis of matter? What does that relate to?
It relates to Note 4 of the financial statements. The auditors draw attention to the fact that IRFC recognized lease receivables related to Project EBRIF 2019-20 effective March 24, 2025. However, the execution of the corresponding lease agreement for this project is still under process as of the reporting date.
So they've booked the income or the asset, but the paperwork isn't fully complete yet? What's the implication?
Essentially, yes. They've recognized the financial impact based on their understanding and expectation that the lease agreement will be formalized as planned. The auditors aren't modifying their opinion because of this, meaning they likely concur with the management's assessment. But they are highlighting it so that users of the financial statements are aware that the formal agreement completion is pending. It introduces a slight element of procedural risk, though likely low given the relationship with the Ministry of Railways.
Okay. That's important context. So based on all this, the steady financials, the large borrowing plan, the government backing, but also keeping the emphasis of matter in mind, what's the general outlook?
Disclaimer: we advise investors to check with certified experts before taking any investment decisions. The outlook for IRFC seems stable, underpinned by its critical role in financing Indian Railways, which continues to be a major focus area for government infrastructure spending. The 60,000 crore rupees borrowing plan confirms their ongoing funding requirements and activity levels. The healthy net worth and manageable, though high, debt-equity ratio are positives. The key factor remains their ability to manage interest rate spreads effectively, borrowing funds cheaply and leasing them out profitably to the railways. The emphasis of matter needs monitoring, but given the context, it might be more procedural than a fundamental risk. Reliance on a single client, the Ministry of Railways, is inherent to their model.
So to conclude, IRFC delivered steady, albeit modest, growth in revenue and profits for FY25 with strong margins. The quarterly performance showed sequential improvement in Q4 profit. They continue to play a vital role backed by a large borrowing plan. The auditor's opinion is clean, but the emphasis of matter regarding the pending lease agreement, execution, warrants a mention.
That sums it up well. A stable financial performance characteristic of its business model, with continued importance in the national infrastructure landscape, and one procedural point highlighted by the auditors to keep an eye on.
Excellent analysis. Thanks for breaking down the IRFC results for us. And thanks to our listeners for tuning in.